Okay, here we are in GameStudio3D.com, and we're working to make this really cool 3D model. And I'm going back to the new sphere that we just made and turn it back on and show you that we just, pulled this other texture on here, and that we selected the sphere in the object menu and in the attributes menu where all of the sphere attributes are, basic, coordinate, object, Pong. We decreased the segments to make less polygons in our sphere model. And now one of the things that you can do when you start modeling is after you have made a selection, or after we've made a model, or we've made an object that we like, before we turn it into an edible object, we can copy it. We can click Control, drag, and just make a duplicate of it. We can pull it down here, and we can turn it off, or we can hide it. And we can just call this sphere body segmented. Or let's put an M in there. And I'll put a 1 on it. I'll put a 1 in case I decide that I want to go back to the body and do less or more segments. So I've just made a copy, and that's what I do. I make copies along the way because you can reuse what you've made in any other object as well. So now we're gonna, with the copy of the body sphere, we can now come over here and click Make Edible. There we go. So now we have a body that's edible and the same one that's not. And we can now click polygon mode, and let's see, I think I'm going to double click on this material, see if I can make it a little more or a little less transparent. I'm going to make it more transparent, and I'm also going to go to the image holder, and I'm going to double click on its material tag, texture tag. Okay, I always get them confused. The material is down here underneath the materials, and the coordinates down in the corner here. That's the material tag, and once we've dropped it on a character, it becomes, it doesn't become, but a texture tag gets made. Cinema 4D does that. And I always confuse them. So, on the texture tag up here, we're going to double click on it, and I'm going to come down to the editor, the basic. I'm going to turn its transparency on too, and that makes the whole thing transparent, but I'm going to click the word transparency. Let's see how to, actually it's selected. Then I'm going to come down further down this menu with the scroll bar, and under brightness, right next to brightness, there's another bar that goes this way, and I'm going to turn it down, the brightness or the transparency up and down, so I can kind of see through there, but there we go. And so I'm kind of setting everything up to make everything easier to maneuver and work around. And once we're set up, I'm going to click back onto the sphere object, and I wanted you to be able to see that a little bit better. Maybe I can make the color different color. The pink isn't really working as well. I wanted you to be able to see the yellow around the hexagons. So let's see, maybe blue, we can see yellow better with the blue. Turn the blue back up. Turn the transparency either down or up. There we go. Okay, we'll just turn the transparency off for now. And another way to set the way we look at it is to go to display, and we can try grid shading. There we go. And it looks like I've got a light that's kind of glaring a little too much. So I need my live selection arrow tool, and I need to click on the lights to find my lights. There it is. Okay, so I went to the object menu to select the lights to find the light, and it's pretty bright now, so I'm going to move it back and move it way up. There we go. Maybe I'll just turn it off. Let's see, what does that do? No. I'll just select the light, and I'm going to turn the intensity down a bit. So in the object manager, I selected the light, and then there's intensity right here, and we can turn down the light a little bit. There we go. Now, a lot of little things. Okay, so now I'm going to select the sphere again. There we go. That looks better. And there's another light that looks like it might be. That was the backlight. Let's see how that works. Okay, so I'm gonna control click the corner of the material window, and I'm going to go up to polygons and select the polygons. And then I'm going to go back over here to the object menu and select the sphere that we're working with. There we go. So now we can select our polygons. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at the polygon and the lights, and just kind of figure out what's going to be the best way. And I was thinking sometimes what I like to do is select the rotate tool. Well, we need to get up off of the polygon mode into model mode. And sometimes it works best to turn the ball and then click back on polygon mode, and then just kind of look at what way it might work best. So I think that maybe the best way to go would be to turn we need the lines on. So go back up to display, and we need to click grid shading and lines. See? There's two right there. And then now we can see our lines when we're in model mode. or object mode, but we'll stay in model mode, and we can see them both in polygon mode and model mode. So remember that display is kind of a place to change the way we can look at our 3D model. And we have constant lines and grid shading and lines on, and then we have wireframe on. And there's wires, so play with that. Wireframe lines. There we go. Okay, great. So sweet. So now I think that if we select the sphere and maybe turn on the transparency again a little bit, that'll be good. Oh, it is on. Oh, but I want to turn the reflection on. Let's see. I'm going to change the color too here to make it a little bit brighter. Maybe move into lime green again. There we go. So there's a lot of different little editing tools to make so many changes. You could play forever with this. With the lights, with the coloring, with the textures, with the shades. It's really pretty awesome. So, okay. And yeah, awesome. Totally